My name's Bob Lazar. I'm known for working at a classified base known as S4 out in the Nevada desert near Area 51. And there, we reverse engineered alien spacecraft.
Bob Lazar has been a consistent informant on UFOs and related alien technology secrets. From releasing classified pictures to descriptions of advanced technology, he has claimed to be behind the production of some UFOs.
People call these large black rectangular areas on the top portholes. I believe they were some planar sensor array.
This time, he breaks his long-time silence about recently sighted UFOs, revealing secret information that has been hidden from the public for so long. Is Bob really in contact with UFOs? Join us as we explore Bob Lazar's leaked information on the terrifying UFO sightings. Number 1. The man behind the horrifying discovery. In the late 1980s, an ordinary man named Bob Lazar emerged from the shadows, making statements that cut across the UFO community and beyond. He claimed to have worked at a secretive federal station known as S4, adjacent to the famed Areas 51 near Groom Lake, Nevada. According to Lazar, he spent his time there reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology. In his words, "My name is Bob Lazar, and I'm known for working at a classified base known as S4 out in the Nevada desert near Area 51, where we reverse engineered alien spaceships." This claim was sensational, as he further described 9 different spacecraft, saying they were of extraterrestrial origin, including the 9 flying saucers and discs. One of the spacecraft he referred to as the Sport model was powered by a reactor that used an element that was unknown to public scientific knowledge at that time. The base used to house these spaceships is hidden from the general public. But what is the goal behind the secret base called Area 51? Let's see the details about this hideout. Number 2. Uncovering Area 51. Terrifying truth. Many people are fascinated by Area 51 because of its links to alien conspiracy theories, UFO sightings, and advanced craft testing. Bob Lazar's distribution of such unclassified images regarding the location expands his claims to raise awareness of operations that may or may not represent harm to mankind. The United States Air Force military base, known as Area 51, is located near Groom Lake in southern Nevada. Edwards Air Force Base in Southern California is in charge of overseeing it. Although the installation's only confirmed use is as a flight testing facility, it has been the site of numerous conspiracies involving extraterrestrial life. Rumors about the installation have circulated for years, particularly in light of the growing number of UFO sightings in the area. The location was classified as Area 51 on Atomic Energy Commission maps, and this became the site's popular name. The Pulitzer Prize-winning author of Area 51, An Uncensored History of America's Top Secret Military Base, Annie Jacobson claims that the clandestine military installation is located within a classified testing and training range the size of Connecticut. She said that the foundation is fiercely defended both in the real world and in the media. There is a prevalent assumption that Area 51, where the U.S. government continues to kidnap aliens, is utilized for testing with crashed alien spacecraft. Lazar's words deepen the long-held belief that Area 51 is a center for superfluous knowledge. The buildings captured on the site have structures that allow for such supposition. There is no disputing that the base is steeped in mystery, making it an ideal location for tales to spread. People have long been interested in Bob Lazar's narrative, no doubt due to the mystery surrounding Area 51 and the attraction of secrets beyond human comprehension. In 2013, the U.S. government publicly recognized the existence of Area 51. In 1998, the National Security Archive at George Washington University obtained a heavily edited version of a CIA report detailing the history of the U-2 espionage plane, which had previously been disclosed under the Freedom of Information Act. According to the paper, the U-2 was tested in 1955 at a distant area with an airport that had not been utilized by the military since World War II. When Sergeant Anderson told the Reno Gazette-Journal about seeing a UFO in 1959, The outlet also reported that the Nellis Air Force Base, located about 130 miles south of Area 51, had received 2 previous reports of UFO sightings within the previous 3 weeks. Those allegations came just a few years after suspicions circulated that a UFO crashed in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947, which the Roswell Army Airfield eventually confirmed was a weather balloon. The Air Force began examining claims of UFO encounters in 1947, which became known as Project Blue Book in 1952. By the end of Project Blue Book in 1969, the Air Force had investigated more than 12,000 accusations. Meanwhile, locals in southern Nevada continued to report UFO sightings, which were most likely sightings of top-secret surveillance planes under construction. Nevertheless, imaginations have run wild ever since. Talking about a secret underground where Bob Lazar claims all these spacecraft were, what kind of activities go on there? Let's find out. Number 3. The secret hub for alien technology. In 1989, KLAS, Las Vegas's local CBS affiliate, aired an interview with Bob Lazar.
30 years ago today, KLAS aired a live interview with an anonymous man who made some really astonishing claims. He alleged that the U.S. military was secretly studying alien technology out in the Nevada desert.
In the interview, Lazar said he and others were stationed at a location in the Nevada desert known as Sector 4. According to Lazar, Sector 4 is underground and connected to Area 51 by a huge, miles-long underground train system. He stated that they were attempting to reverse engineer an antimatter reactor-powered alien starship. There is no evidence that Lazar was ever hired by a government or military group. However, one journalist claims that Lazar was aware of the inner workings of Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas, the Groom Lake Complexities, and Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico. According to Lazar, this hidden installation, which lies opposite to the well-known Area 51, was the center for some of the clandestine activities involving extraterrestrial technologies. S4 in Lazar's narrative was home to 9 distinct flying saucers, each made of unique designs and functionalities.
Well, there's several, actually 9 flying saucers, flying discs, that are out there of extraterrestrial origin.
These crafts were not just for display, they were operational. He often detailed how they were stored in hangar bays camouflaged into the mountainside, designed to remain hidden from prying eyes both on the ground and from above. This assertion, if true, indicated that whoever was behind S4 had intentions of not just reverse engineering crafts, but possibly testing and using them. The induction of Element into the UFO discourse has an intriguing perspective on this revelation about S4. What type of element is used to power this claimed super-terrestrial spacecraft? Number 4. The extremely rare element 115. According to Jacqueline Gates, a scientist with the Heavy Elements Group in the Nuclear Science Division for Berkeley Lab in California, element 115, or moscovium, is a man-made super-heavy element that has 115 protons in its nucleus. As with all elements on the periodic table, the element's number correlates to the number of protons in the nucleus of the element's atom. That's 23 more protons than uranium, the heaviest material found in considerable quantities on Earth. Gates stated that element 115 is an exceptionally rare element that produced one atom at a time in particle accelerators. It only survives for a fraction of a second before decaying into another element. She stated that it is unique because it is close to a predicted island of stability, where some super-heavy nuclei may have significantly longer lifetimes. They may live for minutes, days, or even years rather than seconds, which is long enough that we might be able to use them for practical applications. Element 115 was first found in 2003, although the term has long been associated with UFOs, aliens, and other related events. And concerning Lazar's claim, he said the element could generate anti-gravity effects, allowing the spaceship to perform a movement that defied conventional physics. In giving additional information on the work activities at S4, he said the teams worked in silos privy only to their specific project details, which make it hard to gain a full picture of the operations. This mode of operation was designed to ensure the utmost secrecy. Lazar said, "It would be impossible to synthesize an element that heavy here on Earth. The substance has to come from a place where super-heavy elements could have been produced naturally." He claimed to have seen evidence of anti-gravity propulsion technologies and 9 alien spaceships kept in a hangar at Area 51. Those spaceships presumably used some kind of propulsion technology that harnessed the natural power of gravity, and so used the physical properties of element 115 to perform their technical wizardry. He asserted that when properly utilized, the element could produce a gravitational field, which the spacecraft field used for propulsion, and also suggested that these crafts achieve impossible movement, bending the rules of known physics. This element, as described by Lazar, was not naturally occurring on Earth, and it was provided to the facility in batches for their experiments. The element is used to generate a gravity wave that is being amplified for propulsion, which allows the craft to lift off and travel with immense speed and agility. The amazing aspect of this craft is that it did not move in the traditional sense of movement, but it manipulates gravity to essentially pull its destination towards it, redefining motion as we understand it. This discussion about this element and S4 cut across popular cultures in scientific circles. The government does not confirm the employment status of anyone who worked at Area 51. And, as other studies have pointed out, the core of his allegations has never been completely refuted. However, the underlying science contradicts his claims. Jacqueline Gates, a scientist with Heavy Elements Group in the Nuclear Science Division for Berkeley Laboratory in California, stated that there is no connection between the discovery of the element and the claims of Bob Lazar. Presently, all the created atoms of element 115 have decayed way too fast to be used to fuel UFOs. So, instead of being excited about little green men and fantastic spacecraft, we're left with real, tangible, and equally thrilling science. That is more than enough for those who are constantly exposed to these improvements. After all, moscovium is an incredible element. Gates saw it as a hint that we are stretching the limits of what we know about the cosmos. She further stated that element 115 is unique in that we can make it easier than other lighter elements, such as 112 or 113. Typically, as the number of protons increases, it becomes more difficult to create new elements. The trend is broken around element 115. As a result, we have been able to create more than 100 atoms of element 115 and begin to grasp its nuclear and chemical features. Lazar's detailed description prompted a mixture of fascination and skepticism, to some S4 representing a fortress of secrets where humanity's greatest discoveries take place. To others, it's just a fiction story, a tale made from half-truths and imagination. The results of Lazar's claim were monumental. They suggest that the U.S. government has access to technology centuries ahead of human understanding. It adds up that human beings are not alone in this universe, and tangible objects that prove it from the other world are kept hidden. However, Lazar's account of the intricate workings of the alien crafts, the properties and applications of element 115, and the inner operation of S4 becomes a point of contention. Some individuals believe him while some dismiss it as fabrication. Nevertheless, the story of S4 and element 115 adds new aspects to discussions about supernatural life and technology. With this exceptional story revealed, will it attract critics and supporters? What were their claims and stand? Let's find out. Number 5. Most heated public reactions. One of the most common complaints focused on Lazar's personal history. When experts and journalists tried to check Lazar's qualifications, irregularities emerged.
One of the featured interviews was with a respected polygraph examiner who became entangled with UFO lore when he agreed to conduct a lie detector test on a controversial whistleblower named Bob Lazar.
Lazar claimed to have attended the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, and the California Institute of Technology, Caltech. But neither institution had any records of his enrollment. In response, Several of Lazar's supporters claimed that his records had been removed or manipulated to discredit him, reinforcing the notion of a massive cover-up. Skeptics pointed out that removing all traces of someone's school experience, including memories of classmates and teachers, would be an impossible task. Another major source of disagreement was the existence of S4. While Area 51 is recognized as a legitimate and active military station, no substantial proof of S4's existence as reported by Lazar has been produced. Satellite images of the supposed location have not revealed the equipment he mentioned. Critics contend that if Lazar operated at such a location, he should have been able to provide particular locations where the base exists. The physics community also has doubts about Lazar's claim about element 115. The method described by Lazar manipulates gravity with the use of element 115. When moscovium, the official name for element 115, was investigated and synthesized, its properties did not match his descriptions. Its volatility and short half-life appeared to preclude its employment as a powerful energy source for propulsion. Furthermore, Lazar's account of the workings of the extraterrestrial craft, particularly the creation of gravity waves, was regarded with skepticism. Many physicists commented that Lazar's answer lacked the depth and nuance expected of someone with a considerable physics background. The concept of gravity as waves was unfamiliar and conflicting with the accepted scientific understanding of element 115. While the manufactured moscovium did not fit Lazar's descriptions, some speculated that the natural stable isotope Lazar mentioned had either not yet been identified or was being kept secret. They maintained that our understanding of elements and isotopes is always evolving, and that what appears unlikely now may become accepted knowledge in the future. For many, the fact that Lazar came forward risking personal and career ruin lent credibility to his assertions. They argued that no one would knowingly subject themselves to such scrutiny and opposition unless they were confident in the veracity of their claims. The controversy over Bob Lazar's revelations is representative of the larger discussion about UFOs and extraterrestrial life. On one side, doubters seek actual proof and verifiable facts. Lazar's story has both fascinating details and confusing scenarios that will surely remain a disputed chapter in UFO history. The tug-of-war between his mockers and supporters highlights the human drive for answers, the urge to discover the truth, and the lengths will go to validate or discredit a tale that challenges the general understanding of reality. On the other hand, believers are frequently motivated by a combination of evidence, intuition, and a profound conviction that we are not alone in the cosmos. And somewhere in the middle are those who are open to possibilities, hoping for that indisputable piece of proof that will tip the scales. His claim of superior supraterrestrial technology, government secrecy, and covert breakthroughs was widely accepted, prompting vibrant conversations, speculations, and a great interest in this hidden base for nearly 3 decades. The doubters point to the lack of contextual cues in the footage, citing the fact that he claimed to have worked on a location near Area 51 and was authenticated, yet he was not actually on site. The mockers also pointed out that his educational and professional history cannot be validated. Therefore, he could be a fraud. Beyond differing perspectives on his latest message, it was made clear that the decision to believe is up to individuals. But evidence that such a world exists is on the ground. Lazar has not shown any solid evidence to back up his claims. Thus, detractors argue that his tale lacks credibility. Lazar supporters, on the other hand, point to his alleged familiarity with cutting-edge scientific theories, such as the upcoming discovery of element 115, as evidence of his credibility. Many people question Bob Lazar's credibility and motivations because it is unclear what is driving his assertions. Some argue that he is a brave informant who took significant dangers to enlighten the public about the truth. Detractors, on the other hand, dismiss him as a simple attention seeker who made up a story to gain notoriety. They further argue that his comments are incorrect because the element 115 he mentioned could not be synthesized until years later. But, as an insider, Lazar may have had access to information that was not widely known at the time. Bob Lazar's tales about outer space planes and his planned exploits at Area 51 have captured millions of people's imaginations. People are still fascinated and divided by the secrets hidden within the mysterious walls of Area 51, as well as the riddles surrounding his narrative. One thing is certain, though, whether Lazar is a cunning manipulator presenting a great yarn or a spy revealing long-held secrets, the allure of the unknown and the possibility of extraterrestrial life will always drive us to answer the mysteries of life beyond Earth. Scientists are known to accept narration based on proven facts. What was their disposition towards Lazar's tales? Let's delve into their scrutiny claims. Number 6. Is Bob Lazar lying? Science, with its strict norms of evidence-based investigation, frequently comes up against unverifiable statements.
9 alien spacecraft that are propelled by...
Bob Lazar's claims, especially the ones about element 115 and its qualities, have provided fertile ground for such investigation. Lazar described element 115 as being important to his narrative. He stated that this material was the foundation of the propulsion systems on the extraterrestrial craft he claimed to have worked on. According to him, they can generate a gravitational field, allowing the spacecraft to twist space-time and travel interstellar distances. However, when the scientific community began to investigate these assertions, various difficulties appeared. They found that during Lazar's original revelations, such an element had not yet been catalogued in the periodic table. It wasn't until 2003 that scientists were able to synthesize element 115, also known as moscovium. Also, moscovium characteristics, as understood through laboratory studies, clashed sharply with Lazar's descriptions. The synthesized element was highly unstable, with a half-life measured in milliseconds, indicating that it breaks into other elements in a fraction of a second. This quick decay made it unsuitable as a steady energy source, let alone one capable of powering interplanetary missions. Also, Lazar's description of element 115's ability to influence gravity sparked debate in the physics community. Because gravity, which is one of the 4 fundamental forces of nature, is almost impossible to control. Despite substantial research in the field, humanity's grasp of gravity remained restricted, and the notion that an external substance such as element 115 could influence gravity appears to defy accepted knowledge. Speaking of the availability of this revelation by Bob Lazar to the public space, it was reinforced by the media. What was media intervention on Lazar's claims? Number 7. The power of media on superterrestrial technology. In an age when information travels at the speed of light and narratives can be made up and changed with every tweet, blog post, or television special, the media's importance in bringing Bob Lazar's story to global attention cannot be understated. While Lazar's stories about extraterrestrial spacecraft and secret government outposts were uniquely fascinating in their own right, it was the media's magnifying glass that brought it into the limelight and popular conversation. George Knapp, an investigative journalist,
This nation continues to bring you the very latest as more bold claims come out about UFO sightings from high-ranking sources.
was in charge of Lazar's first public appearance. Knapp, who is an accomplished journalist, known for his expertise, lent credibility to Lazar's claims. Their television interviews gave Lazar's story its first wide audience. Knapp's probing questions, as Lazar's straightforward responses, created a special effect that was understandable to an average listener. The visual medium's capacity to mix sound and the story made it ideal for exploring the unknown and other worlds. Lazar's descriptions of the 4 facilities, the alien ship, and element 115 complicated machinery were extended by reconstructions, animations, and expert analysis. Documentaries also boosted Lazar's narratives. They brought a higher range of perspectives into the discourse from adamant doubters and enthusiastic believers. This series of opinions often contradicts, thereby leading to a fuller touch of understanding of the Lazar phenomena. One of such documentaries that stood out was Bob Lazar's Area 51 and Flying Saucers, which delved into Lazar's assertions, the man himself, his motivations, anxieties, and the impact his revelation has on his personal life. By painting Lazar as an ordinary man in the documentary, the viewers were encouraged to look beyond the sensational and examine the serious consequences of the information leaked. The development of the internet also brought about a democratization of debate. Online forums, blogs, and social media platforms were buzzing with discussion, debates, and dissection of every aspect of Lazar's strict. Amateur investigators, physicists, and UFO enthusiasts from all across the world might share her ideas, discoveries, and theories. YouTube channels and podcasts dedicated to UFO investigation have aired Lazar's account, often with new perspectives and information. Some attempt to disprove his assertions through methodical analysis, while some provide complementary evidence that appears to support his narrative. However, one cannot dispute that without the media's intervention, Lazar's narrative would have remained a footnote, a whispered tale within a small population. Instead, it became a worldwide phenomenon, a landmark in UFO history. His statements created curiosity and prompted a new generation to marvel at the sky and ponder an ancient question: are we truly alone? The media interaction with Bob Lazar's words shows the ability to shape community awareness of facts. It emphasizes the importance that storytelling, when expanded by technology and transmitted globally, may have on our sense of reality, belief, and place in the universe. One can't but wonder, what will be the cost effect of Lazar's assertions on conventional history on his life? It sure poses a personal cost to his life. Number 8. Backlashes on Lazar's personal life. Bob Lazar's decision to publicly discuss his experience at Area 51, as well as his subsequent life, shows the complications of being a whistleblower in a field laced with skepticism and potential danger. Almost immediately as his name was exposed, Lazar was forced into the harsh effect of being in the spotlight. With the world's eye on him, every aspect of his existence was examined. From his academic credentials and professional history to his personal relationships and financial situation, it appeared that no aspect of his life was left untouched. The inquiry was not restricted to public curiosity. Lazar constantly claimed that he had been threatened and that all official records of his existence were being erased. He described being followed, monitored, and frightened. These allegations, while difficult to independently verify, presented a picture of a guy living on the edge, constantly looking over his shoulder, frightened of invisible perils hiding in the darkness. Aside from prospective threats, the majority of Lazar's revelations focused on his ties. The pressure of being a prominent figure in one of the most contentious UFO claims of the day took its toll on his personal life. Relationships were strained and some even broke as a result of the public attention and the pressures that came with it. Trust became expensive, and isolation, whether self-imposed or not, became a recurring activity in his life. His professional life was no less impacted, with his academic credentials called into doubt and his statements met with suspicion from conventional scientific and engineering circles. Typical career possibilities in his field of competence became restricted. Lazar, on the other hand, adjusted to his new surroundings. He ventured into scientific supply businesses, banking on his increased celebrity and the resulting demand for unusual materials and technology. However, the shadow of his Area 51 claims never really faded, constantly providing a backdrop to any professional venture he pursued. Financially, the journey was a roller coaster. While his stories provided opportunities like paid interviews, documentary deals, and speaking engagements, they also resulted in legal battles, commercial obstacles, and the cost associated with maintaining a certain level of protection and privacy. Lazar's financial state, like other aspects of his life after the discovery, became a balance of wins and losses. Being in the center of such a storm has serious psychological consequences that should not be disregarded. While he always appears cool and calm in public, one can only imagine the inner turmoil, second-guessing, and moments of doubt he may have had. affirming a narrative over and over, especially the one so passionately fought against and for, would test any individual strength. Another notable aspect of Lazar's post-revelation was his slow disappearance from the spotlight after the initial flow of interviews, documentaries, and public speaking engagements. He grew more reclusive. While he never denied his accusations, he appeared less likely to continue pushing them into the public discourse. He rather chose a peaceful course away from the constant gaze of both believers and unbelievers. Bob Lazar's life after his claims regarding Area 51 and super-terrestrial technology is a heartbreaking story about the price and consequences of making exceptional claims. His story is about overcoming and adapting to adversity, and the perseverance of the human spirit in its pursuit of truth, knowledge, and acceptance in an often unsure environment. What is your opinion on these mind-blowing facts on extraterrestrial spaceships? Leave them in the comment section, and while at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting content.